What the fuck's your problem? You think you know it all? You little young thundercats. You got joints on you? No. You smoke that shit?
No, sir.
It looks like there's some fresh buzz around Bad Boys 5, and it's coming straight from Martin Lawrence himself. While nothing is officially locked in just yet, Lawrence recently dropped a pretty hopeful update about where the franchise might be headed next. If you've been following this series from the beginning, or even just jumped in during the most recent movies, you'll know why people are excited about the possibility of another sequel. Let's rewind for a second. Lawrence and Will Smith first teamed up as the Miami detectives Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowrey all the way back in 1995. That first Bad Boys movie, directed by Michael Bay, was a major hit and basically kicked off what would become one of the most successful buddy cop franchises out there. Since then, we've seen 3 sequels, including the most recent one, Bad Boys Ride or Die, which hit theaters in 2024. That film was directed by Adil Bilall and Bilal Fallah and brought the duo back together for another high-octane ride, and people loved it. Now, with the latest film still fresh in fans' minds, a bunch of folks have been wondering if Bad Boys 5 is happening. While we haven't gotten an official green light, Lawrence has hinted that it's more than just wishful thinking at this point. During a recent chat with Entertainment Tonight, Lawrence opened up about what the series means to him and shared a little insight into what might come next. He said that even though he and Smith haven't actually talked about plot ideas or anything like that, conversations are definitely happening at Sony. So it's not just fan speculation, there's real movement behind the scenes. According to Lawrence, the franchise is something really special for him and Will. It's where it all started for them as a duo, and after putting out 4 successful movies, they're grateful for how far it's come. But he also made it clear that as long as audiences still want to see these characters, they're down to keep going. He even said, "I think we have to give you 5. That's what I'm thinking." That doesn't confirm anything, but it definitely keeps the momentum going. So what does all of this actually mean for Bad Boys 5? Well, let's break it down. For starters, Bad Boys Ride or Die did really well, especially with audiences. Critics were somewhat lukewarm, giving it around a 65% score on Rotten Tomatoes. But where it really crushed it was with viewers. It got a huge 96% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes' popcorn meter, and that kind of love shows up at the box office too. The movie had a budget of about $100 million and ended up making over $400 million worldwide. That's a big win, especially considering it came after all the drama with Will Smith at the Oscars in 2022. Apparently, most people either moved on or didn't care because the turnout proved that Smith is still a huge box office draw. In fact, when you add up all 4 Bad Boys movies, the franchise has now made over $1 billion globally. So it's not surprising that Sony is eyeing another sequel. They've got a winning formula, and they know it. But here's the thing. Even though the excitement is there and the studio is interested, there's still no solid story idea in place. And honestly, that's kind of important. Ride or Die set the bar pretty high in terms of action, character moments, and just overall energy. So if there's going to be a 5th film, it really needs to bring something new to the table. Otherwise, it could end up feeling like a quick cash grab instead of a meaningful continuation of Mike and Marcus's story. Now, we don't know exactly where things will go next after the events of Ride or Die, but the movie did leave some threads open. There are still some interesting characters and unresolved arcs that could be explored. And with Sony already tossing around ideas, we might not have to wait too long before something more concrete comes together. One of the more intriguing possibilities for Bad Boys 5 is a change in setting. Up until now, the series has been deeply rooted in Miami. Sure, they've had a few scenes in other locations, like Cuba in Bad Boys 2, but Florida has always been the central backdrop. That might change in the next one. The directors of Ride or Die have said they're interested in taking the franchise to international cities like London or Paris, or even places in Asia. And co-writer Chris Bremner mentioned the Middle East or Southeast Asia as potential settings too. Why does that matter? Because it opens the door for the return of Gabrielle Union's character, Sid. Sid first appeared in Bad Boys 2 as Marcus's sister and Mike's love interest. She was originally based in New York and later moved to Los Angeles, where she became part of the LAPD in the spin-off show LA's Finest. Since then, though, she's been completely missing from the main franchise. There was even a reference to her in Ride or Die, but she didn't actually show up. If the fifth movie shifts away from Miami, it could finally create the perfect opportunity to bring her back. It would be way more natural for Sid to appear if Mike and Marcus are working a case somewhere like London or Dubai. Maybe she's already working a similar case in that area, and they have to team up. It wouldn't feel forced because, honestly, her character is one of the more globe-trotting ones in the series anyway. She's already been to Cuba on a mission, so why not Europe or Asia? And there's another layer to this. Will Smith once promised fans that Gabrielle Union would return in a future Bad Boys film. He said this back when Bad Boys for Life was being promoted. That return never happened in Ride or Die, though, and fans definitely noticed. So having her show up in Bad Boys 5 wouldn't just be a cool addition. It would also be a chance to make good on that promise. Even if the movie sticks to Miami, there are still ways to bring Sid back into the fold. Maybe she comes to visit her brother, or maybe she's drawn into a case that overlaps with what Mike and Marcus are working on. But taking the franchise to a new location could really help freshen things up and give them more freedom to explore new dynamics. And let's be real, seeing Mike, Marcus, and Sid working together again would be a blast. Their chemistry added a lot to Bad Boys 2, and bringing that back could be just the thing to make Bad Boys 5 stand out. It would feel like a reunion and an evolution at the same time. So where does that leave us? Well, Martin Lawrence seems optimistic, Sony's having internal talks, and fans are totally into it, and Ride or Die proved that this franchise still has a ton of life in it. The only thing missing right now is the actual story. But once they crack that part, and hopefully include some fresh elements like new locations and Sid's return, Bad Boys 5 could easily become one of the standout entries in the series. For now, we'll just have to wait and see. But with so many pieces already in motion, it feels like it's only a matter of time before we get an official announcement. And when that happens, you can bet fans are going to show up once again. Because even after all these years, we still want to ride or die with Mike and Marcus. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. And if you want, you can share your thoughts about this video in the comments.